Hello guys, Standing Simmer here today, coming at you with another base game plus build here on my channel. This is our regular series that we've been doing on Thursdays, which has seemed to work out pretty well for the schedule and all that good stuff. And I hope you guys are still enjoying it because I'm having a really good time putting all of these new unique lots together using just like a limited set of packs and things like that. So let me tell you a little bit about today's build to give you some context for what we're doing today. So this is the very first community lot that I've built using limited packs for this series. I did build a community lot on my channel, I want to say it was last week at this point. Yes, it was last Tuesday should have been, and so that would have been the Brindleton Bakery. If you're watching this in the future, then yeah, Brindleton Bakery is the one I'm talking about. It wouldn't have been last week for you, but yeah, you know. Anyways, so this is the first one though where I have endeavored to challenge myself by using a limited number of packs and yet still put together a community lot. So the idea for what we're building today came from a reference photo that I got on Pinterest. I was just kind of like looking around the other day on one of my Pinterest boards that I have kind of a collection of pins of limited, well, it's interesting architecture basically. So just these really cool, like interesting, eclectic, and just any kinds of photos of really cool looking buildings that I've managed to put together in the time I've had Pinterest. And so I was kind of looking around on there the other day for some ideas, and I came across a photo of an art and music gallery that was built in the shape of a grand piano. And I was like, oh my goodness, that looks so cool. And I was really hoping to try to be able to recreate it myself in The Sims. So I'm not even sure if I'll be able to find the photo again. I'll try to lay my hands on it. If so, I'll experiment with trying to pop the photo up on the screen for you guys because it does look really, really neat. If it's not there, forgive me. My editing skills are still kind of developing as we go. But yeah, I saw this photo. I was really inspired to create something, especially because there is an availability for an art center community lot in The Sims. So I figured that it would work pretty well if I was like putting it all together. I thought that the mixture of different things I was trying to accomplish would actually work in The Sims, which is kind of fun. And so yeah, we are building an arts and music center. I believe I named this the Find Your Forte Arts and Music Center. You guys, I really think I'm real clever on these community lot names. Anyways, not really. I just thought it was kind of funny because, you know, obviously pianos are known as fortes, piano fortes as well. And in addition to that, forte is, you know, it's just a musical term in general. So Find Your Forte Arts and Music Gallery. If I could have, I would have exclusively made it just like a place dedicated to music. But again, the community lot type is an art gallery. So I thought, hey, while we're at it, may as well go ahead and stick in a little bit of art stuff in addition to the music. And I really am glad that I ended up doing that because once we got to the interior, a lot of the art stuff looks really, really cool as well. So yes, this is an art center. I actually decided to build this over in San Myshuno, which I'll get to why I chose that specifically here in a moment. It's not just because there is already an arts gallery here in San Myshuno, which is the lot that we're using today. So I went ahead and just bulldozed the arts gallery it comes with the game when you have City Living, and then just decided to build this in its place because I feel like it fit really well with what we were going with anyway. The theme of this build, it looks pretty good in the city, and especially in the arts quarter where we are building it. So that's where we are building today. I thought that it ended up looking really nice in this location. And so yeah, this is, like I said, a limited packs build as a part of my series. And so you may be curious as to what packs we're using today. And the packs that we're using are just City Living and Fitness Stuff Pack. So I've had City Living for a while now. It's actually my favorite expansion pack. I love Cats and Dogs a lot. It's a really good expansion pack. And I know it's the favorite to a lot of people. But City Living is my hands down all-time favorite up to this point. Now, if we'd happen to get like Seasons or something like that as an expansion, I may have to revise my opinion, but we're not to that point just yet. So as of right now, City Living is my favorite expansion pack, and I love playing with apartments. I love the gameplay aspects of like the festivals and apartment living in general, and like the careers that came with City Living are really, really cool. And so there are just a lot of neat aspects to City Living that I love a whole bunch, in addition to the build and buy So yes, all-time favorite expansion pack up to this point. And so I finally get to use it on a limited packs build. I'm not sure why it took me so long. I was probably waiting to find just the right thing. And so I feel like this is perfect for that sort of thing, especially since, you know, again, we already have an art center in San Myshuno, and I believe that's the only one that comes preloaded in one of the worlds when you purchase the packs. So yeah, city living and, like I said, fitness stuff. I've not owned fitness stuff for too long. I want to say I've had it for just a few months up to this point. And I really like the look of a lot of the furniture and the items that come with the packs, with the pack, I should say. And so I thought that the modern aesthetic I knew I was going to be going for with this art gallery would mesh really well with the same types of items that come in the fitness stuff pack. So yes, guys, if you have the City Living expansion pack and the fitness stuff pack, stuff pack, you should have everything you need to download this lot as is. Because of course, if you have those packs, I imagine you also have the base game, which I did draw on a little bit when building this, but I didn't draw on it a whole lot. So as we've kind of talked through this whole little intro part here, you can see that the basic structure of the build is kind of starting to come together. Of course, I did skip a lot of stuff, especially putting together like the actual structure of the build. I began building it on the ground floor because I knew kind of going into it that I wanted this to be an elevated build. The photo that I was using for reference also utilized a like second floor structure, I guess, for the build itself. And so I knew I wanted it to have the actual structure on the second floor, but I didn't exactly know how I wanted it to look at that point. So I started building it on the ground floor and then eventually moved it up to the second floor and then progressed from there. So like I said, the aim is that the outside itself is kind of generally in the shape of a grand piano. So the rounded corner edges that we get with some of the deck options was really helpful in helping put that together, because obviously we can't have rounded or circular walls in The Sims, at least not just yet. I hope just for the sake of what it might mean for different architecture going forward, that they might add that in at some point, maybe in a patch or something like that. But as of right now, the best of a rounded corner we can get, a true rounded corner, only comes in the form of those deck items. So that does mean that a couple of the outside corners of the build have only the fence surrounding it. So there aren't walls kind of, you know, structuring off the entire building. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I've never really done that before. Unfortunately, those deck areas where the fences surround them on the rounded corners are not accessible. I didn't actually end up putting doors out to any of those deck areas. I think there are, like I said, are 1, 2, maybe 3 of them in this structure. So I didn't end up actually making them accessible, but I figured it was okay because like they're kind of for decoration anyway, and they look just as nice as is. So like I said, the whole structure is supposed to look kind of like a grand piano. You'll see me kind of doing a lot of looking at it. If there are any kind of weird pauses in here that I forgot to edit out or that I missed during the editing process, it's because I did so much just looking at this build. Like I would back my camera up and I would look at it for a while, and I'd go back in and I'd tweak something and I'd pull the camera back out and look at something else. And so there was so much tweaking that went into the exterior of this build that I really didn't want you guys to have to sit through the entirety of it. Although I think I left in a kind of enough so that you get the basic idea of what I was going for and how I ended up putting it all together. So the roofing, which of course we're not even there right now, guys. Like, we have moved past this point. We are on the inside, and I'm still talking about the outside because while we were doing the outside, I was talking about something else. But the roofing is meant to look like the top of a piano as it is raised up. I was trying for a while there to put like a column or something to represent the stand that raises up the top of a piano, but I didn't really find anything that looked good. I was also trying to figure out if there was some sort of a transparent wall covering that is available in The Sims. I did some research because I thought that if you could cover the base of the roof with something transparent, it would look even better if the roof looked like it was just kind of floating as is at an angle. But to my knowledge, there isn't anything like that in The Sims. If I'm wrong, guys, and you know of something that would kind of work to kind of fit that need more or less, let me know, because I mean, I obviously can't use it in this build anymore, but there's a possibility that in future builds I could put something like that in. So that was kind of what we were going for there. And I kind of again went back and forth with the windows and things like that. I actually asked my husband at one point what his opinion was on like what type of that really large window with the cool geometric pattern I should use, because I didn't know at the first part of the build if I wanted to keep it like a plain window or to let it be the geometric pattern. And so he kind of weighed in and gave me feedback on that. And finally, the coolest part, I think, of the exterior of the build is there's a row of windows. Like, we kind of keep glimpsing it here and there in the video as we go right now, but there's a row of those single tile wide windows that lines one whole side of the build. And I was thinking those kind of look like piano keys, because that is the part of the build that represents the part of the piano that has the keys. And so I started off by trying to incorporate both black and white windows kind of in a pattern across that wall. But then my husband, while I was showing him another part of the build, said that it might look nice if I put columns there instead to kind of make it stand out even more, to give it more dimension. And I thought he was totally right when I tried it out. And so that's what we ended up doing. So I cannot take credit for any of what makes that side of the build look good, because I had the original idea to put in the single tile windows, but I think his idea for the columns was really what made it look like kind of like what I was going for originally. So you guys will have to let me know what you think when we kind of get over to that side of the build again, or if you've already noticed it. And I will have a screenshot of it at the end of the build as well. So you'll get to see it a little better when we get to it. So here, talking about the interior, since we've been on the interior for a while by now, I wanted to make sure that not only would this lot fulfill all of the requirements for an art gallery, so the lot type is completely fulfilled. You shouldn't have any issues placing it or using it in your game. It'll have everything in here that you need. But I also wanted to make sure that it had some really cool, like, little unique spaces. So this is kind of like a skill building haven. There is so much your Sims can do to build skills in this place. It's crazy. Like, I'm gonna place it in my own game, I think, just to have somewhere to go to build skills like crazy, because it's so nice to have places like this, especially if you're wanting to take like a group of your Sims, like maybe a family or like a group of friends from school or something like that. It's so nice where you can go into a build like a community lot and have a ton of stuff to do. Like, you're really not gonna run out of stuff to do in this place. So when you first walk up the set of double stairs into the little like entry area, there's just kind of like some simple decoration, some tables, some seating areas, things like that. But then you walk into the main part of the open area, I guess, through here, and like there's this little bar area off to your left, and there's some seating there as well, kind of clustered around the bar. And of course, like I said, we've already moved past a lot of that, but we get back to it here in a little while, and you guys will be able to see it. Actually, well, no, I thought I was gonna do it right then, but no, we're doing something else. Anyway, so there's that little bar area over there. And then, of course, kind of strewn throughout the place, I really like to play with these little half walls and displayed some artwork on those, which of course those large city living paintings were perfect, I thought, for this type of build. I love them anyway, just in general. I throw them in my Sims houses all the time, at least when I'm not using a limited packs build where city living isn't available to me. I love using them so much because they have such pretty, bright, vibrant swatches. And yeah, I just think that they look really, really good. So yeah, we've got those like little half walls kind of strewn all over the place, got lots of art for your Sims to look at while they're here. And then what I'm working on right now is kind of something fun with the lights from the fitness stuff pack. That is not an original idea. Actually, the kind of little mural type thing that we were doing there on the wall, we'll do another one here in a second off to the side of where we are right now. But I believe the first time I saw that was in a collab build by, I think it was Simlissy and Penapple, when the fitness stuff pack first came out. They built a gym, and to be honest with you guys, like, for the life of me, I cannot remember who did the exterior and who did the interior. But whoever did the exterior did something cool like that on the exterior to look like a rock climbing wall. And so, okay, pause real quick for a second here, guys. I just want to apologize if you hear any of the background noise that's coming off the street in front of my house. I've mentioned this in videos before, but my desk is set up right next to a window, and even with the window closed, you can hear you can hear the noise coming off the street sometimes so badly. Like some days it's really not that bad, but other days, like today, it seems like there have been 15 large trucks going by and they're all making a lot of noise. So usually when I listen back to the recordings, you can't hear it as badly as I think you can in the moment, but there's a really good possibility you just heard a whole bunch of background noise. So I'm really sorry about that. I would move my desk set up, but we live in such a small house that there's really not a lot of other places it could go, like as large as my setup tends to be. So I'll have to figure out some way to to work that out. Maybe I just need to record at a different time of day, but that's kind of hard to manage sometimes. So anyways, what in the world was I saying? I think I was talking about those lights from the fitness stuff pack that I saw Simlisy and Pineapple use in a build of theirs. So the way I originally saw it, the lights were kind of oriented so that they were climbing up the side of the wall, and they were all different colors and sizes, and I just thought that that looked really nice. And so since Fitness Stuff Pack is one of the packs I can use in this build, I thought that I would do something similar. And since this is an art gallery, like larger abstract wall pieces like that would not be like out of the ordinary. I feel like that's something that would definitely be in a build like this. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Like I said, not an original idea, but I love being able to draw inspiration from other simmers because, you know, it's just really cool to see what a whole bunch of other people and their creative minds can do with the items that have been given to us in the game. And then it's also fun to replicate those things to make your builds look nice as well. So we've kind of moved through a lot of areas, but essentially this whole place ends up having skill building items for, let me think, oh goodness, I should have made this list before I started recording, but let me see if I can remember without a list in front of me. So for sure there are painting items, as you can see right here, we're working on those. There are also 3 creativity tables, as you can see kind of there tucked in the corner. So your kid sims even have something to do while they're here, which is kind of cool. So you've got painting, creativity, you have woodworking, so it's like the handiness skill that's built with those woodworking tables. There's a whole little section that we did earlier that's just woodworking tables over there. Let's see, of course you could build your mixology skill if you wanted to. There is a bar here, although with the art center I think a mixologist comes preloaded once you arrive on the lot, so you just kind of have to kick them out if you want to build your mixology skill here. Let me think. Of course, music as well. We have a piano, we have guitars and a violin, and then there is also one of those comedy mics as well, which I put next to the piano, because I want to say, in addition to comedy, your Sims can also practice singing on that once they're past a certain skill level. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on it. But of course, this is a City Living build as well, so singing, since it came with the City Living expansion pack, is kind of an appropriate thing to incorporate too. So yeah, I mean, just tons and tons of skills that you could build in this area, which, like I said, makes it kind of fun for a community lot, because you can bring all kinds of Sims here, and they all have something to do for the most part. So in the interior as well, I was really wanting to incorporate a lot of like darker, more muted tones. So we have a lot of blacks like we have on the outside, and then there's this gorgeous set of wall coverings that came with the Fitness Stuff Pack, which it's like kind of like tiling, but also kind of like wood, maybe more of a paneling is how you could describe it. And I use this gorgeous darker brown swatch, and that is so pretty. But then also every once in a while, I've just put in like a feature wall, like a pop of color to kind of complement whatever room we're in at that time. So it's not totally muted, like there's some color going on in there, and I think it looks really nice. So we're out here to the front again. As you can see, you probably saw it much earlier, but I did size up a violin outside as well. And that's also because the reference photo I was looking at for this build had a large structure, like violin type thing on the outside too. Maybe it was a cello, I don't exactly remember. But yeah, anyways, there was a large string instrument sized up outside. And so I thought that that looked really nice if I could replicate it here in The Sims. And I was afraid at first that your Sims might walk up and try to play it. So I surrounded it with a half wall, because I know that even when items are sized up and sized down, your Sims can still use them to some extent. I think it depends on the item and how big they are or how small they are, I think. But anyways, I didn't want your Sims walking up to the community center and like just trying to play this massive violin. So I surrounded it with some half walls, and so hopefully that will keep them out of it. You never know, it's The Sims, they're persnickety. They'll do whatever they want. Usually exactly what you don't want them to do. But I tried. we did our best. So just putting in teeny tiny bit of greenery because this is a community lot after all. Landscaping isn't really something that you see a lot, just surrounding community lots. But I still wanted to put in a little bit, especially to contrast with all of the dark and the black tones that are on the exterior of this build. I don't typically build anything quite this dark, so I did want to contrast it with a little bit of that greenery as well. And so we just put in like some basic planter boxes and things like that, so that's what we're doing. And then here in the front, I wanted to put another kind of a feature piece, and so I experimented with this fountain area, and those larger kind of like rectangular looking fountains, that like the fountain waterfall pieces that you see there, I thought those also looked like piano keys. So yeah, I alternated the white and the black and just thought that looked really nice when it all came down to it. So like I said, you guys will have to let me know what you think about the build as a whole, if you think you'd actually get some use out of it as like with your Sims and things like that, if you'd enjoy visiting something like this. And here toward the very end, just popping in some lighting on the outside, which I mentioned before, I don't always keep in, but if the build is like somewhat short enough, I'll let you guys see what I do lighting wise, just so you can have an idea of what we're doing. So fun fact here at the very end that I thought I might want to share with you guys, since this is a build in the shape of a grand piano, I did used to play the piano when I was a kid. I know a lot of us probably had lessons when we were kids and then like didn't keep up with it when we got older, but I actually had lessons for several years and competed for a while with the piano, and really do enjoy playing from time to time, although I don't have one now, so I haven't practiced in a really long time, so I'm probably so rusty it's not even funny. Like, it would be laughable for me to try to play right now, but I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll get back into it and learn to play again. So yeah, guys, we are done with the build. Thanks for tuning in for another installment of the Base Game Plus build series. I feel like this voiceover was kind of all over the place, but it's the first one I'm recording of the day, and sometimes that happens. So yeah, City Living, Fitness, Stuff Pack, and the base game will get you this build in its entirety. You guys have to let me know what you think. So I'll leave you off here for the rest of the screenshots. I hope you're having the best of days, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye!
I'm so happy, watching my mesmerized by lines. 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 I'm so happy.